Because a lot of these things are abstract. Brand awareness is an abstract thing. I can't count it. I can count your phone messages. I can watch you, and I can count how many times you go to the movies. But I can't look into your brain and measure something like brand awareness. It's a lot more difficult. So we prefer, if possible, to pick variables that are easy to count. Well, I can't really do that with half-a-leg products though. Because one, most people have very low brand awareness of this, we believe. I actually did not know until one of my students told me all of the keys on my keychain are half-a-leg. I've had these keys for 3 years and never once did I ever know that they were half-a-leg. And I didn't know about half-a-leg before 3 months ago when I got this project. So if I ask people, how many half-a-leg products do you own? You can't give me a real answer, right? And what we end up having to do instead is measure what we call purchase intention. Purchase intention. Purchase intention. This is typically what you'll see companies do if it's something that people don't buy often or don't do often. Maybe like go on vacation. Your purchase intention for going on vacation to another country. Or it could be purchase intention to buy a new car. How often do you buy a new car? 3, 4 years, maybe once every 4 years. It's not something that you do very often. With half-a-leg products, we're talking about doors or washing machines. You don't buy it that often. So instead, the way that we would look at measuring something like this, I would ask you, if you were going to buy a new washing machine, how likely are you to buy half-a-leg? Make sense? Well, if this is the dependent variable, the thing that you should be looking at as a researcher is what other things out there would influence this. Why would she possibly want to buy half-a-leg, but she would not? What is it that makes people different? What are the triggers that get you to buy it? What do you think would influence? Price? Yeah. So price could be one. What's that? Quality? Yeah. Give me one.
Insurance.
Insurance. Yeah, could be, right? Well, so yeah, maybe. What'd you say?
What was the question?
So if you're thinking about buying something like a washing machine, a new washing machine, what makes you pick this brand instead of that brand? Price could be one, quality could be one. If they have a promotion, that would be similar to price, right? Now, one thing that what we call these variables, we call these independent variables. And what should happen is that these independent variables are what help you predict your dependent variable. So this doesn't happen. I don't want to buy a product at all if it doesn't have these factors. Or when I'm trying to make my decision, this is what influences my decision. And one thing you have to be careful of is that these concepts cannot overlap. You want them to be separate. So if I put promotion up here, actually promotion would probably overlap with price. So what could be something else?
Branding.
Hmm?
Branding.
Like branding, yeah. So maybe it's just the brand image, like you mentioned before. And the goal of the research project is a few things. One, we want to understand the descriptives, right? So descriptives would tell us right now what is people's purchase intention level. Right now, what do people think about our image, our quality, and our price? So we can just get an overall view of how people feel about us in the market. That's one goal. That's the easiest to do. And honestly, that's where most market research companies stop. But that's not so helpful. Instead, what my class is doing is, of course, we're giving them the descriptive, but we're also, we want to know which one of these factors should Hathaway work on the most. Which one is the biggest trigger? If we can only do one thing, change our price, improve our quality, or improve our image, which one should we do? And what's going to be the impact of it? If I increase the price by 10%, what do we think is going to happen? If I decrease the price by 10%, what might happen? Those are the things that we're able to do with this type of research. You guys, you didn't do market research for the contest, right? Have you ever taken a market research class before?
I think that because the lack of time, they just
It's a hard thing to do fast.
outside.
You can't do that in 48 hours.
Yeah.
But actually, I have a question. For
Yeah.
example, you are doing a market research, right? And you are identifying which one should you focus on. These three elements, it's just based on the predictions or any theory, or just based on the information you collect and then you analyze it and come to an orientation. Which one should you
Okay, great question. It depends on what your starting point is. If you were doing academic research, you would take a very different approach than this. This is what we call applied research, because it's trying to answer a specific company's specific problem. And a lot of the time, when you're doing something for one client, the client has to agree with the research project, right? You have to submit a proposal to them. They have to check to see, are we going to ask the right people? Are we looking at the right variables? And then they have to sign off because they're the ones paying for it. Typically when I do it, I do use theory. Because there's been a lot of academic researchers that have looked at these types of things in the past. And in English, there's a slang, you don't have to recreate the wheel. Somebody already invented the wheel. We don't need to do it again. Same thing here. These aren't the variables we picked. I just wanted to get you guys thinking in variables. The variables that we picked okay, I guess it doesn't erase that easily. Can you go steal me a different one? One of these classes will happen. It really raised, but it's going to use my muscle power. Well, I'll just tell you. We picked quality. And the way that I got these variables, I went and I actually read academic literature about marketing and what affects purchase intention. This is called a high involvement product. You guys know what a high involvement product is? This is a lot to do in 3 hours, so let's make this the goal. The goal for today should be that you learn a little bit more about marketing concepts in general, and that you understand the steps of doing a market research project. We're actually going to do some statistics today too, but if you don't know any anything about statistics, it's okay. I just want you to see what is market